So that actually brings up the last place I wanted to be, and that it today, and that is this full-throated attack on American history and what America stands for. And the thing I want really to emphasize, there are two things I really want to emphasize, I guess three today. One is that the Trump administration is deliberately centering the ideology that the Confederacy embraced in the 1850s and the 1860s. The idea that some people are better than others and have the right to rule. And those few people tend to be white and male, and they are more qualified than Black Americans, Brown Americans, people of color, and women are to have a say in their society and to determine their own fate. And that is what the administration is trying to do with its attacks on US history. But the second point I want to make is that one of the things that scholars of Black American history talk about is how Black history is American history. And a lot of people, when they hear that, make the mistake, I think, of thinking that that's sort of a way of saying, well, of course, Black Americans were here too. But that's not really what they're saying. What they're saying is that the central theme of Black history, and I would add women's history, and I would argue any marginalized history, is really the central theme of American history in a way that the history that Donald Trump is pushing is not. And what I mean by that is that democracy in the United States has always been the effort of those people who were excluded from it to be included. So we understand attacks on our rights. We understand how hard it is to protect those rights. We understand creating movements of solidarity to expand those rights. We understand how important it is to vote. We understand how important it is for us to be included in our government. And that's the theme of American democracy itself. So when Trump makes war on Black history or women's history or Chicano history or any of the many different kinds of history, what he is really doing is stripping away democracy in favor of either that oligarchy that the 1850s Southern elite enslavers wanted to put in place, or of a dictatorship that says your struggles to be included in our country are not part of our story. The only story is that of elite white men like me. So that's the other piece I wanted to talk about today. And the third piece is, to me, obvious. A lot of you write to me a lot of the time and say, what are we going to do now that Trump is attacking our history? And the answer to that seems to me so simple. We learn it ourselves. And I don't mean you suddenly have to disappear in a library and start from scratch. I mean, you tell your children the stories of your life and about the people that you care about and the things that they did. And it does not have to be, storming the beaches of Normandy. It can simply be starting a food bank that made a difference to a community. Or it can be something like happening to have listened on the radio to a really important speech. If you note, I always talk about important speeches. I did that with J.B. Pritzker's speech the other day, even though it was quite late at night. And the reason for that is because my mother had diphtheria when she was a child in the 30s and got stuck at home with nothing to do but read and listen to the radio because her family was quarantined forever. And on the radio, she used to listen to Hitler's speeches. She didn't speak a word of German. So she didn't know what the words were, but she could tell that the cadence and the screaming that he was engendering was boding something terrible for the world. And as soon as she was old enough, she joined the army. So those sorts of stories matter. But if you go beyond that, even, and you talk about the stories that matter to you, the stories that matter to your community, the books that you read, that's how we keep the real history alive, even if we had somebody running the White House who thought the things I think about are important. Those are the ways we keep history alive, because all history is the story of who we are and how we have changed society to make it just a little bit better. And if we do that, the fact that he wants to have that garden of heroes of sculptures and all that, fine. Go, don't go, read about the people in it, don't read about the people in it. What really matters is that we preserve our history. And our history, regardless of where you fall in race or gender or age or anything, it matters that we know the stories of those people who, when forced out of participation in American society, found ways to force their inclusion in it. Because at the end of the day, that is literally what American democracy is about for all of us, especially in this moment when people are trying to strip that away from so many of us.